Hi. Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our flight in discovering one more Chinese expression a day. So yesterday we talked about disillusion, which is called 梦醒时分. That's the moment when you just wake up from your dream. And usually it's a self it's a preferred dream, I guess. It's a better reality than your real reality. So that's the moment when it's a painful realization of something, and you have to wake up from that dream. And today we have 争分夺秒, the same 分. Yesterday we have 时, right? 梦醒时分, we have hour, minute, and today I'm showing you the second how Chinese express that. Okay, 争分夺秒. 争 and 夺, they have similar sense of motion, which is kind of a tug of war between two parties. So when you say 争, there are two hands shown here. So one is the top hand, kind of three-finger top hand, kind of looking like that. And then you have another three-finger hand, looking like that. And then you have something, kind of something that the three-finger hand are trying to hold onto, and this top three-finger hand is trying to get hold of as well. So there are two hands tug-warring over something. And I guess in ancient resource low environment, sometimes you have to fight over food, right? And in today's competition is like a fight over opportunities or doing something, right? But in ancient times, it's fight over something and valuable to you. And in ancient times, most likely the valuable thing is food. Okay, so that's competition. It's a visual representation of two hands. So now when we say 夺, it's a similar concept, but instead of a competition with another hand, here we only see one hand. Again, three-finger hand. And then we have a bird symbol here. So this is the elongated beak of the bird. And then these horizontal lines are the feathers of the bird kind of going this way. And then this is the stylized, elongated bird feet that's in flight, the kind of a tuck neatly behind the body. So it's more aerodynamic. So that this depicts the birds in flight. And this top portion, my understanding, is the spread out of the wings, kind of doing that now. So the three stack up symbol means wingspan spread out of a bird on top of the hand. According to scholars, this is the hand trying to hold on to the bird, but the bird is trying to fly away. So this 夺, the sense of 夺 is you already have something in your hand, and that thing is spreading the wings and trying to get away from you. But eventually, in language use, we don't really come back to the original sense of you already have this. It's just going to get away from you. You're going to lose it. But instead, we have this 夺, oftentimes in the use of you don't have that yet. You're trying to reach out to get it. So there's a slight shift of the exact definition of you versus what you want. Is it already in your possession, or is what you're going to get in your possession? But in any case, this hand involved, and the hand behind it is your intention, what you want, right? And you reaching out your hand to get that. And ancient times is the bird symbol, because bird probably is a major protein source. It's a food source ancient times, so it's quite precious, right? You try to hold on to that, you try to grab it. So that's the sense of 夺. In any case, 争 and 夺, both of them are kind of, seizing something, trying to get hold of something, that, heavy-handedly trying to get hold of something. And fen and miao. So fen we talked about yesterday. It's basically cutting something into smaller units. So ancient Chinese mark time by every 2 hours. We call it a 时辰. The chen is 2-hour time unit. And I guess that's a slower paced time, when time management or sense of time doesn't require such an urgency that you have to cut it into every hour. Back then, it's every 2 hours. You check in what time of the day. And then when we have the Western concept, whoever come up with a even finer cut of the time into minute. So 1 hour cut into 60 minutes. And that minute, Chinese translated as a split. So we cut something with knife, and this something, we cut it in half and use that separation. We have the sense of we're actually cutting time into finer unit. That cutting was used here as minute. Now you say, okay, miao is even a finer cut. It's 60 on top of this 60 cut, right? It's a finer cut of the time unit. And indeed, it came now from the agriculture concept of a crop. So this is a crop. Okay, normally this upgrowing kind of a trident looking thing is our grass, right? And when it has a big arch at the bottom, that means this is something really standing tall away from the ground. There is a spacer, I call it a spacer over here, from the top of the crop to the ground. There is a big space. So that's the shape of the crop. And now the tip of the crop kind of bend over. So that means something is growing over there. And that growing thing, that kind of heavy bending, crop bending thing, is the crop we want. That's what feeds people, right? So the left side is crop symbol, and the right side is our small symbol turned reduced symbol, or the sense of not enough. So we have a happy sense, a happy exact so many crops matching up to so many mouths, like population, right? Enough of food. And then we have an oversupply. We have multiple crop to one mouth. That's a happier ratio, but not naturally, not necessarily often occur, right? And then we have a deficiency of the crop. It's not enough to feed this number of mouths. So this is the sense of, on the right side, it's pronounced as shao. That's not enough. That's little. That's deficient. And this shao came from xiao, which is already means small. And the small come from this cutting. You see this cutting with a knife, right? And here is the result of cutting one piece into two. So xiao, this concept of small, is already in relative to its original form. Now you cut it into two pieces. That's half the size of the original piece, right? That's for sure. That means it's half the original. That's smaller than the original. And that's the sense of, okay, this is what it means. It's small. It's actually smaller than the original. And now we take, it seems like from the already small thing, we take this kind of a curvier thing, almost like a rope, kind of grabbing at the longest staff here, almost like trying to take away from that, right? So you already have smaller than before, and you're trying to take away the longest part of that, like even fewer, reduce the quantity even further. So that becomes a concept of not enough, deficient. And when we have not enough deficient paired with crop symbol, that means the food, okay, it's called a he mang. That means the beginning of the crop growing tip. So, okay, picture corn. Okay, I don't know much about agriculture, but picture corn. When it started growing, it's a smaller encapture wrapped fruit of the corn, right? That's what we're going to eat, but it's so small. It's only at the very beginning of it. It's not a full grown yet, so it's not enough food for us. And that's the sense when it's this sense of deficiency of being small, being not enough, paired with crop. That means it's the very tip, the very beginning, the very young baby corn that we're talking about. And so that's the original agricultural sense of what this character is about. It's a baby corn, okay? Now, when it transferred the meaning of baby corn, that's super small, that's not enough, transfer that sense to timing, then that becomes second. That's like an even smaller, tinier unit of time measurement. And that's how Chinese translate, kind of transfer the smaller baby corn image to the sense of smaller baby time. We use that as 秒, the second. Okay, so 争分夺秒 is often used, like I heard it so many times when I grew up in China. 争分夺秒 is when the teachers try to drill inside you a sense of every minute, actually every second counts. You as a student, you have to put every minute of your, awakened hours or awakened time into study, into more, rote memorization. That's back then. So 争分夺秒 often used as to have this heightened sense of time is sensitive. You have to act very, very quickly. Otherwise, there's no chance for you to survive here, or there's no future for you. It's very devastating situation. You have to act it now. You have to have a tug war constantly with time to try to seize every second, every minute, to try to get the most out of your X number of hours that you're awake. Okay, so I try to find what contemporary Chinese are using this 争分夺秒 in. So this movie poster, is about a cop story, I guess. So Hong Kong is famous for producing tons of cop story. And of course, it's exciting, it's an action, drama, all that. And this particular show is called a Split Second, which I think is a very good translation of 争分夺秒, because we're talking about the time down to second. And within that second, you still have a tug war to run against time, right? So this sense of you have to further split the second to have a winning chance of something, or save the world or something, right? So that 争分夺秒, or what was translated as a split second. Okay, so that's the sense of 争分夺秒. And I only translate as a rush. I guess it's not enough. It's really rush yourself against time. So I guess race against time. That's Google Translate. 争分夺秒, Google Translate as race against time. It's more, I guess it's more making sense, but I tend to pick only one English as a corresponding concept. So rush, you try to rush yourself into doing something as if you're running against time. Okay, catch you into the continue thinking about one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.